I'm Andrea Askowitz.
And I'm Allison Langer. This is Writing Class Radio. You'll hear true personal stories and learn a little bit about how to write your own stories. Together, we produce this podcast, which is equal parts heart and art. By heart, we mean the truth in a story. And by art, we mean the craft of writing. No matter what's going on in our lives, writing class is where we tell the truth. It's where we work out our shit. There's no place in the world like writing class, and we want to bring you in.
You know, I want to go off script for a second and say that Allison is smiling while she's recording. And I don't know, I like that. I kind of can hear it. And also I want to say that if this is your first episode, thanks for listening and welcome to Writing Class Radio. Today, we're asking, how do you know if your story sucks? How do you...
It just sounds so funny hearing you say it.
Why?
Really? Because how many times a day do you ask yourself that question? Does this suck? Is this good? Does anyone care?
That's so true. Okay. But so we're asking that on this episode. We're asking, how do you know when to trash it? Or how do you know if you should keep submitting it, 20 times like I did?
To other publications. Please don't submit to the same publication 20 times.
No, don't do that. So Allison wrote a story about her hair after cancer. She submitted it to the Washington Post, and I don't know how this happened, but it got rejected.
I don't know either.
It's so bizarre because Allison has a very good track record with the Washington Post. But okay, this story got rejected. And so now she thinks the story sucks and she stopped sending it out. So, okay, is Allison does she have no persistence? Or is Allison smart because she realized, all right, this story isn't worth pursuing? We're going to talk about that and more after you hear Allison read her story after the break. We're back. This is Andrea Askowitz, and you're listening to Writing Class Radio. On this episode, we're talking about how do you know when your story sucks? You're about to hear Allison read her story, Beauty is Everything, Isn't It? I don't think it sucks, but Allison does. We'll let you decide.
Well, you don't think it sucks because you helped me edit it. You would have told me it sucked in the beginning. So this is another thing. Once we get invested in a story, sometimes it's hard to know. That's why we need a lot of editors, not just the editor at the Washington Post who then says your story sucks. Now that you've put so many hours into it, right? So, I mean, my people...
There's also one other thing I want to say.
What?
That just because your story did not get accepted at the Washington Post doesn't mean your story sucks. It means it wasn't a fit today for the Washington Post. So there is always that. And also, I see from the very beginning of your story that you did not take all my edits, so maybe that's why it got rejected.
Zoom has been a lifesaver, but it has also been a mirror of ugly. Yes, we were able to communicate during the pandemic, continue business face-to-face, but looking at my new hair has been torture. A year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3C ovarian cancer. I went through chemo and lost my long, blonde, wavy hair. My signature. I know it sounds ridiculous and shallow, but my hair really defined me. People commented on my hair, often touching it as they gushed. Your hair is so thick. That's rare for blondes. The compliments made me feel proud and pretty. My hair gave me the confidence to strut into a room wearing a dress that was way too short and heels that were no longer in style. But I knew my hair could carry me. When I was 8, my mom chopped my hair so short you could see my scalp. I know there are much worse traumas out there, but this was mine. The kids made fun of my short hair, saying I looked like Mrs. Brady from the Brady Bunch. My mom's hair was exactly the same, short and ugly. When we went to the supermarket, people would stop us. Y'all look like twins. I wanted to vomit. Nobody wants to look 30 when you're in elementary school. After that, my mission in life was to grow my hair long. Long meant pretty. Now at 53, I look more like Alice than Mrs. Brady. A month ago, I was with my 11-year-old son at the pool and the lifeguard said, "Your grandson's looking for you." Maybe it's the lack of estrogen or the fact that I've had him at 42, but I'm pretty sure it was the short gray granny hair. Either way, it crushed me. The next day I had a Zoom meeting. When I stopped my video for a minute, my pre-cancer image saved with Zoom popped up. Long, wavy blonde hair. When the Zoom video started again, there I was, the old lady in the room. The old lady doesn't get laid or hit on. She gets a dirty look from the bartender who, I imagine, wonders, who invited Grandma? When she drinks hot tea with lemon and leaves a bar early to get a good night's sleep. Without my long hair, I lost the confidence to get dressed up. My hair tells me it's not appropriate to wear a cute mini dress and red platform heels right now, and maybe never again. Instead of addressing why I'm so superficial and obsessed with my appearance, I wear a hat, sometimes a bandana, and I complain about how I look. Recently, I called my hairdresser asking her to bring back my old color. Her idea is to weave the color in slowly so it looks natural. Each time I leave the salon and get on Zoom, I ask if anyone can tell the difference. Their heads tilt and their eyes squinch up, trying to see through the computer. They must be thinking, no, don't see a thing different. When the cancer treatment began, I opted out for cold capping or making a wig out of my own hair. I didn't think about recovery while I was gearing up for combat. I wanted to be a real cancer patient, feel it, and fight. And I did. I changed my diet. I went vegan, gluten-free, no sugar, alcohol, caffeine, or processed foods. I slowed down. I let go of the past, cut back on work, lived in the moment, started meditating, got massages, went to acupuncture. I did everything necessary to survive. It wasn't until I got my first clean scan, when I raised my hands in triumph, that I started feeling ugly. I knew in my heart how silly this was, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling. How could I go through all of this and still find appearance so important? It's been 17 months since my final chemo infusion. The hair is growing. I can finally cram it into a tight pom-pom at the top of my head. Life has gotten back to a manageable sprint, sometimes a jog, and occasionally a lovely afternoon on the couch. I'm living through the varying stages of post-cancer ugly and the paralyzing fear that comes with each scan. I'm grateful I'm alive, but I also want my hair back. I'm not insane. I know worrying about my hair is ridiculous and petty, considering the odds of dying from ovarian cancer. Over 50% of women who are diagnosed with ovarian cancer are dead in 5 years. I'm only 1 year out. But despite the idiocy, feeling pretty is important to me, even while I'm still sparring to stay alive. It makes me wonder if all humans are the same. Does everyone need beauty to feel pretty? This week, I had lunch with a group of women I hadn't seen since my hair grew in. I talked about feeling old and ugly. They said they loved my curly new hair, but I didn't believe them. Nobody said how trite I was to be worried about my hair, something so superficial and unimportant after I'd faced death. Nobody judged me, well, openly judged me. They were either kind, or because they are American women in their 50s, also obsessed with their appearance and didn't recognize my foolhardy rant. The next day, I got my first CT scan since I received the all clear a year earlier. When the results of my scan appeared in my portal, I clicked on the report, my heart thrashing against my chest, and I took in a huge breath as I read the results. No evidence of disease. I stared at the words, then sent a text to my doctor's assistant. Good news, right? She texted back, better than ever. At that moment, something clicked. I was cancer-free and better than ever. Better than ever to travel, explore, and love. I'd been wasting valuable time worrying about my hair and what others thought of me. And I'd missed something so much more important. I was alive and healthy and better than ever. I started crying, then dancing around my office. I texted all my friends to share the good news, and with each text, I felt more and more dazzling. I was sporting the same short, ugly hair, but I felt like Wonder Woman, gorgeous and fierce. Later that day, I was at the gym on the Peloton following along to Ali Love. I stared at my reflection on the monitor, a puffball of curly, salt and sandy hair bobbed to the music, and I felt real joy in seeing myself. It was a little shocking at first. I looked proud and sexy. I was grateful for the hair on my head and the ability to pump the pedals with strength. I looked around the gym to see if anyone was admiring me. They weren't. Everyone was looking at their own reflection. I looked back at myself and pedaled along, and this time with even more vigor.
Okay. Good.
Oh, God, no. The way you said okay didn't sound good. Are you about to let me have it?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
There are new things in this draft that were not in the draft that I approved for publication. Does everyone need beauty to feel pretty? I actually think that's the reason this story got rejected. Because it's such a general assertion, and I would have said, stay with you. So I get that you were trying to, or you were kind of universalizing your experience, but I don't think everyone needs beauty to feel pretty. I don't. I think that there are a lot of different ways that people grow up in the world and lots of different ways to feel. And what do you mean by pretty in that moment? Like beauty is bigger than pretty. So I just think that paragraph really took me down a road I didn't agree with. And so I lost kind of faith in the narrator. I actually, except for that and the first paragraph that needs to go, I think this is a really gorgeous story because it does. I didn't remember it having such a really, like, so the narrator, you really do change. You come to something so much bigger. And the whole time I was thinking, all right, so here, why am I so superficial? There's this line up at the top where I thought you were going to say, here it is. Without my long hair, I've lost the confidence to get dressed up. My hair tells me it's not appropriate to wear a cute mini dress and red platform heels right now, and maybe never again. So that's sad. So that I'm like, oh my God, this narrator is really mourning the end of beautiful, or the end of cute, the end of youth, the end of a lot of like femininity, a lot of things that this narrator grew up with. Instead of addressing why I'm so superficial and obsessed with my appearance, I thought she was going to address something that was less superficial, but she didn't. I wear a hat. So I'm not saying that I would have changed that. I saw that and I was like, oh shit. Is this narrator going to realize that there's something so much bigger going on here? But she does. And so I was really, really satisfied at the end. I want to talk about the very first paragraph, which might also be the reason this did not make it through the editor at the Washington Post. Zoom has been a lifesaver, but it has also been a mirror of ugly. First of all, there is nothing new there. That everyone knows. This last year has been a year on Zoom, and everyone's looking at their own face. I have to tell you something. I feel like I look good on Zoom. I don't know why. I just am I wrong?
No, you look really good. Especially up close like that, the way you're pushed up against the Zoom right now. And I can see your nose very prominently.
Most people don't think they look good, but I just wanted to interject that because I'm looking at myself right now. I'm like, not half bad. But for most people, I don't think that first paragraph works at all because there's nothing new. And then that brings me to the bigger problem with this story that you and I discussed, which is cancer hair is not a new story. So that might be another reason why it got rejected from the Washington Post. But I'm not saying that this story isn't, if you took out that general bit and the very first paragraph and just got right into it, it's a very specific story about a woman who grew up really beautiful, who lost her hair, who comes to realize that beautiful hair is not the end all, that having a strong ass body that can pump hard on the Peloton is the end all. And so she gets a grip, and I really am proud of her. And I think that's a story worth telling. And maybe it's a little bit too overtold for the Washington Post, but there are plenty of other publications. Well and Good is a publication that I've learned about recently that deals with health. It could also work for Next Tribe or Next Avenue. Those are two publications that deal with women of a certain age. Those. Okay, here's my favorite part of the story. Where you compare yourself to Mrs. Brady, and then you compare yourself to Alice. And anyone who is our age, like anyone who's in our 50s who watched TV growing up would totally get that. It's a very specific joke targeted toward old ladies, but I thought it was freaking great and a great visual.
I thought the Alice part was too much, but that was your input. And so that's also like, okay, let me try Alice. So, but I don't know. It's cool.
I think that this story is a very specific story that needs to be directed toward people
of that age,
of a certain age.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? That goes against sort of what we say in general. No, I don't. I take that back. That joke works for older people, but it works anyway because the way that you laid it out, you're like granny, like we get that Alice was an older character and Mrs. Brady was a younger character, but still old to the 8-year-old Allison.
Yeah.
I think it works. And I think that that with a few more edits and a little bit more persistence, the story is, there are huge stakes here. The story's good.
Well, maybe I'll publish it in Well Nation, the health and wellness newsletter that we're going to launch.
Tell us a little about that.
I'm starting, and Writing Class Radio is also working together with a group to publish a health and wellness newsletter. So we want to bring fresh ideas into the health and wellness arena. So we're going to have columnists talking about sort of dietary myths and how to get, healthier with little tweaks. Different things, supplements that you can take that are, basically we're going to do the research. It's going to have a molecular side and a scientific side, and it's going to have a research side, but it's also going to have a very, very personal touch. So we are accepting submissions smaller than Writing Class Radio. I'd like to keep everything under 800 words. I just feel like in a newsletter, it has to be short. But if anyone is out there and wants to contribute, just send it to Allison at writingclassradio.com and just put health, Well Nation in the subject line. And we pay, same as all the rest. So it's, it's a great place, and we will publish stories that are previously published. So for sure, look on our website, writingclassradio.com, under submissions, and you'll see the guidelines to submitting to Writing Class Radio and to Well Nation. I highly recommend it.
Also, I want to tell you that we have a free publishing guide. It's awesome. It gives you how to structure a story. It gives you a template on how to pitch a story. It gives you ideas on where to send your stories. And you can get all of that for free just by going to our website, writingclassradio.com, and signing up for our newsletter. You'll get one email a month, but first you'll get a free publishing guide. Go to Writing Class Radio and sign up on our mailing list.
If you're already on our mailing list and want the publishing guide and never got it, just email us at info@writingclassradio.com and we'll send it out to you.
Yeah. What was your thought process going into that first line? Zoom has been a lifesaver.
I have this weird structure in my head that I like lay it out, like boom, catch people's attention, and then give backstory. I hate sometimes launching into the story itself. I like to have an introduction, but
a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3C ovarian cancer.
Yeah, much more
How
powerful.
is that versus
I know.
Zoom has been a lifesaver, but it has also been a mirror of ugly.
Well, maybe I should have read it out loud, or had you read it out loud, because now that you say it, I want to vomit.
I guess I see why you started with that, because you were trying to say that you keep looking at yourself and you see your new hair, and it's not easy to look at yourself with your new hair.
Okay, it's gone. We can stop talking about it. Bye-bye.
Okay.
But the point of this whole episode is to figure out, when do you stop trying to submit it? Because you are really, really persistent, and you usually get your stuff published. There's very little things you've trashed, right?
No. I probably have 100 essays in my computer that maybe I got 5 rejections, maybe 10, but I swear to you, I'm ruminating about how to, tweak it a little bit, when is it going to be right for what publication? And I've been taking a class with Sue Shapiro, and I think this is worth mentioning. Sue Shapiro is the queen of figuring out how to get a story published in a major publication. And what she teaches her students to do is to like wait for a news hook. And there's not always a news hook, but sometimes there is. So if someone famous, you know, let's say that someone famous went on Twitter tomorrow bald or with their hair just growing back. And then Twitter went wild with that famous person. That would be the perfect moment for you to send this story out. That's just one way. But anyway, I have a lot of stories that I think are good, but they lack something. And maybe they are a little bit tired. This story might be a little tired. That's what we've come to.
Because cancer maybe. As a topic, tired. Divorce as a topic.
And cancer hair.
Yeah. So how do you write about a tired topic that's important to you?
That's a great question. I think what you do is you come up with a new twist, a slightly new twist. And I think you came up with a slightly new twist because, well, did you? No, I don't think you did. I mean, I love that you changed, but there's nothing really new about your story. Is there? I mean, you realized what's most important, but is that new?
No, that's what happens with cancer, period. You know, you get cancer, you fall apart, you get your shit together, you start making some changes because you don't want to die. And then you deal with the consequences. But it's interesting because I'll hear about other people talking about their cancer hair, and I'm like, are you stupid? Like, what is wrong with you? And yet, I can't shake the feeling, you know? And it's...
Right. But you did that well in this story, I thought.
Yeah, it's gotten better.
You did bring up, I know this is stupid, I know this is stupid. I like that.
But why are we so wrapped up in what we used to look like? We don't fucking look like that anymore. I don't care. Anybody does it. Nobody.
But let me just tell you that I say this to my mom all the time. My mom, who used to dye her hair for years and years and years and has really good, thick hair. And now she has totally white, after cancer, totally white hair that kind of resembles cotton balls. And it looks amazing. And I say to my mom, like, thank God for cancer, because we never would have gotten to your hair. We never would have gotten to this beautiful hair.
Well, see, that's a good twist. That's what I should have said.
Publications want something new, something that has a twist. So, like, don't tell us the story about getting cheated on. Tell us the story about how you were the cheater. That's better. Thank you, Allison, for sharing your story. This episode of Writing Class Radio is produced by Virginia, Lora, Allison Langer, and me, Andrea Askowitz. Theme music by Justina Chandler. Additional music by Amadians and Poddington Bear. There's more Writing Class Radio on our website, writingclassradio.com, including video classes, essays to study, and editing resources. If you love the lessons you get on each episode, you can get them all in one place. Our 3-part video series is just $50. Click video classes on our website. If you want to be a part of the movement that helps people better understand each other through storytelling, follow us on Patreon. For $10 a month, I will answer all your publishing questions. Like I'll tell you to lose that first paragraph and to send your story to Well and Good, not the Washington Post write-off. For $25 a month, you can join Allison's First Draft weekly writers group, where you can write and share your work. That is such a great community. I join it all the time. It's such a great moment to just like stop, spend an hour writing. It's every Tuesday from 12 to 1 Eastern. Go to patreon.com/writingclassradio. And if you want to try out First Draft, the first one is always free. I mean, give it a go. Write to info@writingclassradio.com to get into the First Draft for free. A new episode will drop every Wednesday in August. That's every week in August. Did you hear that? We're coming at you every week next month. There's no better way to understand ourselves and each other than by writing and sharing our stories. Everyone has a story. What's yours? every week in August. Did you hear that? We're coming at you every week next month. August 2021. Wait, are we in 2021? Good. Okay. There's no better way to understand ourselves and each other than by writing and sharing.